Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley. Thanks for stopping by today. I have some very fun projects for you today featuring some new products from Neat and Tangled. It is a part of their 5th birthday celebration. Happy birthday, Neat and Tangled. Should I sing to them? Maybe at the end of this video. Stick around. So here's a look at some of the new products. I love this Hooray stamp and the coordinating dies. I love that the coordinating dies have not only the detailed sentiment, but also the shadow. And these two products together make some great possibilities for you. Now, I thought I'd give you a look at some of the other ones as well. That was the All the Sprinkles stamp set. And then we also have these balloon stencils. Now, I love these because they're designed to where the balloons will overlap. So you can do some really cool color blending with those. And then finally, we have these multi-sized iridescent sequins that are so beautiful. You all know that I love my sparkle and shine, so I'll be using these on my projects today. But to start out, I'm going to show you a little bit of rainbow stamping, and I have mounted that Hooray stamp into my mini Misty, and I have a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock in my Misty there. And I'm going to be inking this stamp up partially in segments with these different colored Distress Oxide inks. Now, Distress Oxide inks are a pigment dye ink hybrid. They stamp absolutely beautifully, and they dry rather quickly. So I like that they give you that really opaque quality that you get with a pigment ink, but they dry quickly, so I don't have a problem with smearing them. So I'm using my Misty so that I can stamp this in the same place over and over again. You could use another type of stamp positioning tool if you have it, or you could just get an acrylic block and get your head right down over the stamp and just stamp it in the same place over and over again. They're fairly easy to line up when you get your head directly over the stamped image. So I've started out with the Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide ink, and then I moved to Spice Marmalade. Here I'm using the Fossilized Amber, but in the completed card projects, I actually ended up using the Wild Honey. Instead, it was a little bit brighter, a little bit less on the grayish side, not quite as antique-y looking. And I am going for a bright rainbow here. Now you can see I am just kind of angling my stamp pad and inking up the portion of the stamp that I want to stamp in that particular color. And then I'm cleaning off between each one. Now I'm cleaning with a baby wipe here, but as I went on, I actually got smarter and I started cleaning it off with my finger. And it was much easier, and I didn't have to worry about the moisture from the baby wipe causing my Distress Oxide ink to kind of react and oxidize, because it will do that when it comes in contact with water. So you can see through the magic of television, I have stamped all of my colors. I moved from the Fossilized Amber to the Twisted Citron to Peacock Feathers and finished off with Wilted Violet, and I have a beautiful rainbow stamped image. Now, while I had all my inks out, I thought I would do more than one card, and I actually got a little bit carried away. I know that's hard to believe with me because I never get carried away with anything. Yeah, right. So I decided to do a little bit of rainbow stamping with the All the Sprinkles stamp set as well. So I'm using the same colors that I used before, but I left out the yellow on this. So I just went from the Picked Raspberry, Spice Marmalade, Twisted Citron, Peacock Feathers, and finished off with the Wilted Violet. And you can see I have a beautiful multicolored image there. Now, if you want to step these stamped images up just a notch, you can take and stamp some Versamark ink over the top and then add some sparkle or some clear embossing powder. And this is just going to give it a little bit of dimension. And this, because it has some iridescent glitter in it as well, it will give it a little bit of shine, which I think is beautiful. So I went ahead and stamped over that using some Versamark ink, applied my sparkle embossing powder, and then heat set it with my heat tool. Now I'm going to use the coordinating dies to cut all of my stamped images out, and let me show you my favorite thing about these dies, because they cut out the center parts of those letters. Do you see here along the bottom how those are all cut out there? I love dies that do that, and let me tell you, they were really easy to line up as well. And I'm just trying to show you that little bit of iridescent sparkle that I got there with the iridescent glitter embossing powder over the top. So along with those stamped images, I'm also cutting out some of the detail sentiments using the coordinating dies, and then also some of the extra shadows using some black cardstock here. I'm going to kind of shadow some of my stamped images. So I'm adding some foam adhesive to the back of this rainbow stamped image, and then I'm going to add it on top of the shadow. Now, because they are the exact same size, I offset it a little bit so that you could see it from the front, and then I added a little bit more foam adhesive on the back. Now for my cardstock, I'm actually using the new pattern paper from the Essentials by Ellen line. It has all these great black and white pattern papers in it. It is a nice weight paper that you can add to the front of your cards without adding too much bulk. And you can see I stamped the coordinating sentiment there that says "It's Your Day." I stamped that in the Peacock Feathers Distress ink and then added the iridescent sparkle embossing powder over the top. Now, because I thought this needed a little bit more color to kind of break up a lot of that black and white, I just added a strip of some cardstock along the side of that pattern paper there, and then I added some gold stitching along the edge of my card front. I adhered my rainbow stamped image, and then I just kind of layered this up and added a few of those sequins, and I think it's a beautiful festive birthday card. So now moving on to my All the Sprinkles stamped image here, I'm going to actually take the detail sentiment from that die set, and I'm going to layer it up with a shadow of vellum. And I'm using a little bit of Frog Delicate Surface painter's tape to hold that on while I take it over to my sewing machine and add a line of stitched gold thread through the center of that. And then I will just pull my back thread and pull the thread through to the back of the card so that you don't see it from the front, and just kind of adhere it behind. And then once again, I'm finishing this up with some layers and some of those sequins. I actually cut that center panel that's stamped down using a stitched rectangle die, and that finishes off my next card. Now, another way to kind of add some interest to these rainbow stamped images is to cut several of the shadows out of some white cardstock or coordinating cardstock. And I'm actually going to layer these up. So you see I have my stamped piece here. I'm adding a little bit of the Zig two-way glue pen to the back, and then I'm going to take one of those plain die cuts and layer it up behind it. Now I'm going to stack up like 5 or 6 of these, and this is going to give this die cut like some awesome dimension. It kind of makes it look like a chipboard embellishment, and I just love the look that you get. And these are really easy to line up, but you see how I'm just kind of pressing those together, making sure the edges line up with my fingers there. Now, because that rainbow stamped sentiment is so beautiful on its own, these cards need very little to finish them off. So I just added a black banner underneath it that I cut by hand, and some of the Essentials by Ellen black and white pattern paper, a few of those sparkly sequins, and we are finished. So here's a look at several of the cards I made here using the new Neat and Tangled August release in celebration of Neat and Tangled's 5th birthday. You can see here I did the same rainbow stamping on some craft cardstock. It's beautiful as well. And here's a look at that iridescent sparkle over the top of that rainbow stamping. I just love it. So let's sing to Neat and Tangled. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, that's enough. As always, I will have links to the featured supplies in the description at YouTube, but head on over to the Coordinating Classroom blog post and I'll leave a link for that below, because I will have more information, more still shots, a complete list of supplies, as well as some information on a giveaway there. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects. Happy birthday, Neat and Tangled. We're so glad that you are making fabulous stamps and dies for us. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.